All right, thanks, Janet. Thanks for everybody put this together. It's a great event. It's been our most crowded debate. You all do a good job of supporting us. And, I love celebration. Me and the family and my campaign team were down here for the parade. We've been down here before for our candidate forum in the last race, and then for the parade. It's a great community, and you're really active, really steward to this country. So I really appreciate what you and I are trying to do together to help create a wonderful country for our children and grandchildren. I'll give you my political story. A lot of you probably already know it. I grew up in Washington, D.C. My dad worked for the State Department. I was there when Reagan took a recession that was worse than this one we have now, because he had double-digit inflation rates and double-digit interest rates in addition to the unemployment problem. He understood that governments can't create wealth, they can't create jobs. He gave the people their money back, and he created 20 million private sector jobs. And his job as a commander-in-chief, not the commander of the economy, the commander-in-chief, was to keep you all safe. He took out the Soviet Empire and Communist Empire without firing a shot, peace through strength. He said, the answer to man's problems are found in the Bible, not in government. He lived it. He said, if we stay true to the wisdom of the founding fathers, we'll solve our problems. And I saw it with my own two eyes in reality. I was an economics major at Rollins here in Central Florida. Became a lawyer, a small business owner. I had one attorney and one secretary when I started. Grew the firm to 6 attorneys and 20 people. So for me, what small business owners go through, the risks they take, all the taxes they pay, all the hard hours they put in, the chances it might not work, unemployment rates and all the insurance, all this stuff, it's not, a myth to me. I understand what it is. But as you know, I've been involved in these races. I wrote a book, The Conservative Comeback, which outlines, you all got a copy of it today, which gives specific solutions, which I believe in, to our national challenges based on our great founding fathers' values and principles. I've led religious freedom rallies in Central Florida. And the biggest thing I want you to know is that I'm down here to not just represent you, but to make sure that once and for all, we keep Alan Grayson at home and end his political career right now. So that's what I'm intending to do. And I look forward to talking with you about some solutions today that we have to help our nation and help our children going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Julius Melendez, and I see some very familiar faces. As you guys know, I've walked virtually every Republican household in celebration. I see Mr. Cook, Mr. Hayes, Mr. Lubluski. Thank you guys for opening up and allowing me to engage in this conversation, because this is important. This is about the future of our nation. And the future of our nation is going to be dependent upon the amount of activity that each individual person puts into it. The answer isn't the president. The answer isn't one single person. It's us collectively taking responsibility for our actions and moving forward. And that's something that I take very personal and dear to myself. As you guys know, I graduated locally. I'm from Poinciana High School. I went to Valencia Community College. I went to UCF. I joined the military to pay for my school. I served 2 tours in Iraq in 2003 and also in 2010. And I got elected in 2008 to the school board, and I'm currently the vice chairman. And during that term of service, I got deployed again to the war. I was going to say activated, but there's different connotations to that. And my wife was appointed by the governor to sit on my position while I was gone for about a year. And so our family understands what it means to be about sacrifice. My grandfather served in Korea. My father fought in the First Gulf War. And that is something that we take very seriously. It's something that we don't take lightly. We have Iraq and Iran that right now are causing some issues. Afghanistan, we have to withdraw from properly. And those are issues that I can deal with on day one. When we talk about owning the balanced budget, we have to do something about that. We cannot keep pretending that the problem is going to go away by magic. It is something that we have to take on right now and deal with it and address it. And that is something that I take very seriously. And as we go through the debate, we can talk about the very specifics of those solutions. And so I just really want to thank everyone for coming out here. Again, every single one of us is going to make a difference. This is one congressional seat, but we all have to take the responsibility to say enough is enough. We all have to make our phone calls, do our walks, and make sure that we have a Republican in the Senate, a Republican in the White House. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that Grayson is not there for any Congress.
My name is Mark Oxner, running for the Congressional District here in District 9. I'm from Celebration. I'm from Champions Gate, Florida, right down the road. I spent a lot of time here in Celebration. My daughter, my wife, and I helped teach the Taekwondo school here for many years. We're students, and we actually helped teach the school here. So we spent a lot of time here in Celebration. Now, who I am, I'm not a career politician. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a businessman. America is on the verge of a world economic crisis. Now, I may not be the most articulate person here today, and I'll prove that a little later, but I am the most qualified. 28 years of a business background, I turned around a large U.S. manufacturer from bankruptcy. I've been a bank vice president. I started my first company when I was 23 with only $1,000 and with 2 employees already, and that company became successful. I started two more small companies. One of them became the largest software manufacturer in the rent-to-own industry. Today, I'm an executive in one of the largest companies in the world. I have the qualifications that's needed in Congress. Because right now, we're at a stage where we just can't send anyone to Congress. We need to send someone with a resume that can get things done. When I look at the people that we have in Congress today, if they had been in power in the 1700s, we would still be part of Britain. You know, we need to send Patrick Henrys to Washington, not Tories. I have a history of fighting. I have a history of fighting and winning. I've turned companies around. I've done things no one on this panel has done in the economic world, the global world, manufacturing, small business. We need to send the best because we're at a time of crisis. Thank you very much.
Our fourth candidate, as you can see, John Quiñones has joined us. And since you haven't been here, I thought I would just give you a few seconds of introduction on what we're doing here. First of all, what we're doing is I'm going to submit questions to you four one at a time. I'm going to ask each one of you to take turns responding first, and then the next person gets to answer the same question again and again. And these are your ground rules. Be respectful, no name calling, personal text. I'm sure you were going to do that. These are the audience's ground rules. Trying to keep order here, trying to have an orderly and fruitful discussion. The first question, which we were just answering now, John, we're giving each candidate 2 minutes to answer a question about who are you, introduce you, what's your background, and so on. What are your general philosophies on politics, and so on. We'll be answering asking specific questions in a few minutes, including questions about how you run against Congress. So, John?
Thank you. I apologize for being late. I was actually in a commission meeting, and for those of you who live in Celebration, one of the items that we approve actually is one that deals with authorization of a cell tower. And I know cell tower is an issue that's a concern as I have been walking Celebration. This is my home. This is my family's home. I'm married. I have 2 children. I represent the majority of this district, either at the State House or currently as the chairman of the County Commission. I believe that when we were in the County Commission, we were going through difficult times. We still are. But instead of increasing taxes, we decided to do something different. We reduced government almost by 20%. And without increasing our taxes, we looked at ways to save taxpayer money. An example is the privatization of the management of the libraries. It's expected to save taxpayers about $1 million for the next 5 years. Balancing the budget and holding the line on taxes, I believe, are skills that are desperately needed in Washington today. We haven't had a balanced budget or we haven't had any budget at the federal level in over 3 years. And so the reckless spending and the taxation issue needs to be addressed. I'm a mediator by trade. I certainly look and listen to both sides to try and reach solutions. I will tell you that freedom is in the verge of being compromised. We have an administration that disregards the legislative branch, and we need to stop what we're seeing, because the Venezuelans in Venezuela thought the same thing when Hugo Chavez started ignoring the legislative branch, and that's why we have this administration, and obviously Alan Grayson is a conduit to those bad policies of this president. With your help and God's blessing, we'll beat Alan Grayson in November. Thank you.
Thank you, John. And John, I wanted to point out to you also that we have Mike here in the front row. He has some cards with times, so he's going to be counting down the time for you, so you can keep track of how many minutes you have left or seconds. All right. Now, before we go on to the list of questions, and I thank all of you for probably another 20 or 25 questions here, which I've organized into categories. But before I get to those specific questions and ask each one of these candidates to respond in turn, I have some general issues that you have given me that I believe most or all of the candidates agree with, but I wanted to pose these simply one at a time to them to help us understand what the differences are among the policies or opinions of these candidates. So I'm just going to read off